Act 1, Scene 5, Macbeth's castle at Inverness. And this is the first moment in which we meet Lady Macbeth. So, Lady Macbeth is undoubtedly one of the most interesting characters, female characters, that you will see in the Shakespearean canon. And she doesn't disappoint even from the first line. We meet her, she is alone reading a letter. The letter is a letter that her husband Macbeth sent to her after meeting the witches. So he didn't wait to deliver the news of the prophecies, the three statements. The glams is a statement. The prophecies are that he will be Cawdor and that he will be king. He doesn't wait to pronounce that news to her when he sees her. In fact, he goes ahead and makes sure that that letter is in her hand, implying the great esteem in which he holds her. She's not a subservient wife. They are partners of greatness. They're partners in greatness. And she is absolutely a strong and incredibly interesting partner to Macbeth. So first of all, Lady Macbeth opens the letter. She reads aloud. They met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfectest report that they have more in them than mortal knowledge. When I burned in desire, underline that, he burned in desire, to question them further, they made themselves air into which they vanished. And whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters had saluted me, referred me to the coming on of time with Hail King that shalt be. This I have thought good to deliver to thee, my dearest partner of greatness. Underline that. I thought it was good to deliver this to you immediately. See, I didn't want you being ignorant of the news. I wanted you to be on par with me knowing this news. Thou mayst not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised to thee. Lay it to thy heart and farewell. So you've got to consider the cultural context of the day. This is 400 years ago, and a wife's role was to be utterly subservient to the husband, to stay at home, to learn French and decorate and give birth. There's no way that they were seen as partners, but he calls her there his dearest partner of greatness. And he has gone to the trouble of getting a letter to her, because obviously he knows he has to go via Forres to see his king, but he makes the point of getting a letter to her so that she is not ignorant of the news. And now she speaks on her own for the first time. Lambs thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. So you are going to be what you were promised, i.e. you will be king. But yet I do fear thy nature is just too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. So importantly here, the witches never gave a timeline to either men on when these things would happen, when Macbeth may be king, or when Banquo's issue may be king. I mean, it could be generations from now that Banquo's issue may be kings. So she's saying, but I fear your nature. You are too full of kindness, the milk of human kindness, to catch the nearest way. So she's impatient for him to be all that he needs to be. Thou wouldst be great, and are not without ambition, but without the illness that should attend it. Meaning, you are great. There's no doubt about it. You are a highly revered soldier in Scotland. You are adored by this king. But you don't have that illness, that poisonous element that would make you a great, that would help you to become king or bolster you. Without the illness that should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, thou wouldst holily. So you hold, your king in esteem, and you are a very honest and moral creature. Wouldst not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win. So you don't want to play false. You don't want to play cheat to get your throne. Thou'st have great glamis, that which cries, thus thou must do if thou have it, and that which rather thou dost fear to do than wishest should be undone. So what she's saying there really is, you'd love the advancement of it all, but you won't want to do the thing that you need to do, i.e., you won't want to commit regicide in order to be the king. She sees this as a problem. She thinks, well, to catch the nearest way, like if you don't do this now, when are you going to actually become king? So she sees it as her job to bolster him, to strengthen him, to make sure that he becomes king. Now, at no point here does she say she wants to become queen. So critics sort of reflect here that maybe she actually, even though she seems very fearsome and she seems like his equal, in some ways you could argue she's also subservient to him, because she sees it as her job very clearly to egg him on, to support him in making his decision to eliminate the kings to become the king, which is very, very serious stuff we're talking about. We're talking about regicide. You're talking about severing the link between heaven and the king, who is the representative on earth of God. And then she says she has killer lines in these couple of scenes. She has amazing lines. Hie thee hither, so come hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valour of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round. So come here, so that I can chastise you with the valour of my tongue, meaning I can get to you, I can manipulate you, I can use the language and the manipulation I need to use to stop you from maybe failing in getting your kingship, or all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have crowned withal. So it does seem as if you're on the way to being king anyway, so let's just expedite the situation. And enters a messenger at this moment. What is your tidings? Messenger, the king comes here tonight. And Lady Macbeth didn't know this. This is news to her. Thou art mad to say it. Is not thy master with him? Who, were it so, would have informed for preparation. So you're mad. That can't be right. Well, where is my husband, your master? Because if this was true, he'd be here to tell me. Messenger says, so please you, it is true. Our Thane is coming. One of my fellows had the speed of him, who almost dead for breath, had scarcely more than would make up his message. So it is true, just one of the messengers got ahead of Macbeth. Macbeth, of course, has been at battle for weeks and months, so he's exhausted. So the guy got ahead of him just to deliver the message to Lady Macbeth that, in fact, yes, tonight, in honour of Macbeth, the king is visiting and there will be a banquet. Lady Macbeth says, give him tending, i.e. the messenger. He brings great tidings. So exits the messenger. And now we have one of the most amazing soliloquies that you will hear from a female on the Shakespearean stage. It really has every fantastic line. It's shocking. It draws on the spirit world. It is a really, really interesting piece. And to be honest, I would learn it nearly all for essays, just to have the prowess to be able to answer in an exam or answer on an essay on this, because it's really, really strong stuff. It starts. The raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. So the raven being a blackbird associated with death. He is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. So there's no two ways about it. Duncan is not going to live. And then she calls on the spirit world, the dark spirit world. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. So she calls in the spirit world to unsex her, meaning to take away anything that is feminine from her. Of course, women are associated as life givers. Women carry children. Women feed. So they're associated as life givers. And she is saying now, she's asking the spirit world to unsex her, to take away her womanly part, her femininity, and instead to fill her up with dire cruelty from the toe to the top. Then she says, make thick my blood and stop up the access and passage to remorse. So there's to be no room for remorse to come through my blood. That no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose. So I don't want any scruples to get in the way of my fell purpose. My evil intent cannot be stopped by scruples. Nor peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breasts and take my milk for gall, meaning take away my milk and instead put poison. So this is extremely serious. She's asking the spirit world to do this, which is highly disturbing for the Elizabethan audience, but it's highly disturbing for any of us to have to read or to watch on the stage. She's a really ferocious character. You murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief, come thick night, and pull thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes. So, echoing her husband in the scene previous, she's calling on darkness to hide what she is doing from heaven, because she wants her keen knife not to be seen by heaven. She is preparing now. She is steadying herself to encourage her husband to kill the King of Scotland so that he can be the King of Scotland, as the witches have prophesied. Nor heaven, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven cry through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold, so heaven can't see what I'm doing here. And at that very moment enters Macbeth, and she is ready to bolster him in any way she needs to. Great glams, worthy Cawdor, greater than both, by the all hail hereafter. Thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant presence, and I feel now the future in the instant. So I'm ready for this, and I feel our future coming. Macbeth says, my dearest love, underline, my dearest love, my partner of greatness. These are not terms we would normally associate with the wife at this time in Shakespeare. She would have been seen as a subservient figure, but this is no subservient figure. This is a domineering woman and a partner of greatness. Macbeth says, my dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight. And Lady Macbeth says, and whence goes hence? Macbeth says, tomorrow as he purposes. So he's planning to leave tomorrow. Oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Your face, my thane, is as a book, where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time. Bear welcome in your eye, hand and tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent underneath it. So she's saying, he won't be leaving here tomorrow. And you're going to have to be very, very two-faced. Look like the flower, but be the serpent underneath. Like you'll recall Muhammad Ali, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The same idea, just always hiding what's really in your heart. He who's coming must be provided for, i.e. there must be a really successful, elaborate, elegant banquet. And you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, meaning I will take care of everything, i.e. I will take care of the banquet, but I will also come up with a plot for murdering our king. This night's great business into my dispatch, which shall to all our nights and days to come give solely sovereign sway and masterdom. So from here on in, nothing will stop us. And Macbeth says, we will speak further. And she says, no, we won't speak any further on this. Only look up clear, to alter favour ever is to fear, and leave all the rest to me. I.e., I'm in charge here. Leave everything to me. You just have to be two-faced, put on the best show possible, and leave it all to me. So very importantly, this is our first meeting with Lady Macbeth. And in it, we see a character who calls on the spirit world to unsex her, to take away all her life-giving qualities. And to make her capable of bolstering her husband to commit the most heinous crime of regicide.